I never thought I'd be sitting in jail for like 30 years for something I didn't do.
All right. So, top of the world, world class visionary. You're watching Last of a Dying Seed once again. Those who know, know. Those who don't, we the only platform on this planet where we take real stories from real people and we pair them with movies. And today we have Michael Richardson with us today. And the movie that he says best relates to his life is Brian Banks. So, for the world that don't know, how does this movie relate to your life?
Well, it was a dude that actually got found guilty for something that he didn't do. Well, he actually had to take a plea deal because the odds was against him. You know, the judicial system stacked the cards. So his only way out, either he was going to get a life sentence or he had to take a plea deal. Even though he didn't do the crime, he still had to, and that's the reason why I'm out right now, because I had to admit to a lesser charge and they let me out. Even though I didn't do it, if I wouldn't have took the deal, I would have still been in there. Now that I'm out, I'm on a mission to try to clear my name.
Right, right, right. And what exactly are you trying to clear for the people that don't know? Like, what crime was it, and what did you go through?
Well, it was actually a murder that occurred, right? It was a fluke situation. When I understand being in the game, we make ourselves susceptible to certain stuff. And one of those was being at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mm,
Um, Somebody had just so happened, just to give you and the people a little backstory, somebody had told us about a good place to rob. Okay, cool. At the time, I had just took a couple of losses. I was doing some stuff out of town that didn't go right. So I'm like, oh yeah, they like, yeah, this dude got some, he got birds. Okay, cool. They don't got no guns. Man, that's even cooler. That sounds like something I want to get into. So went to go do this mission. It didn't go right. We left. We didn't even get in the door. The dude opened up the door for somebody. We assumed that he left. We tried to hit the door. He was right there. Got to my police, call the police, get my gun. We being robbed. We
mm,
left. Now, just so happened that when we get back, my co-defendant was like, hey man, I lost my keys. Like, well, hey, bro, we're not going back to the spot to get them keys. They not in my truck. I don't know what to tell you. Call a locksmith. So now the next morning, these two characters, one of the ones who was responsible for telling us about that situation, about that was a good place to rob, he on the porch about 8 o'clock in the morning reading the newspaper. I never see the dude on the porch at 8 o'clock in the morning reading the newspaper. I'm like, what up, man? They like, oh man, check it out, Mike. Hey, somebody got killed at that house last night. I'm like, what? I'm
mm.
looking at same address. I'm like, wow, that's some fluke shit. I'm like, well, hey man, it wasn't me. I don't care. Gave the newspaper back when he did my thing. Um, Now, fast forward, the dude who told me about that, he wound up going to jail for 6 months later, going to
Mm.
jail for um some drug stuff, selling to a police.
Okay.
While he go to jail, he called homicide and tell him I got information on a murder. Now, homicide worked with him. Okay, you give us the names that happened, that did that, blah blah blah. Um, they wind up putting a tail on me. They 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 tracking my every movement. I can tell somebody's following me. I see them sitting in front of my house, but I ain't doing nothing, so I'm not tripping. I don't know what I'm thinking. They owe me about some drug stuff because that's what I was into. But come to find out, it was the murder.
Mm.
And I'm like, man, I don't know nothing about it. Like I said from the very beginning, I never knew nothing about no murder because I wasn't there. But the murder happened an hour after we left. The dude called the police after we left. Police came, looked around. They wound up finding my co-defendant keys at that time. They're like, oh, here goes some keys. These y'all, no, they ain't ours. Must have been the dudes who tried to get in here. So now they saying that, oh, you dropped the keys during, so we know you was there. He was there anyway. So it was, man, it's just some fluke stuff, man. It was, and I know it's like I said, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, in the wrong lane at the same time, because when we embark in them streets, man, we bite off a whole lot more than we can chew.
Right.
We don't know it at the time because we living life. It's fun. We hate until stuff like this happens. So I never thought I'd be sitting in jail for like 30 years for something I didn't do.
Damn. So you did a whole 30 piece
Yeah.
for. More time, man. Do
I
you
mean, in
feel
the
like?
whole,
Do you believe in the whole karma aspect of it? Like, do you believe like the life you led, that it came back to you in that form?
absolutely. I mean, and I have to take that on the chin, which is what I used to always tell my wife was like, man, I'm in here for a reason. You know, um, Obviously God felt the reason to set me down. I didn't know he was gonna set me down for that long, but for whatever reason, he sidelined me for that long, knowing I didn't do the crime. But hey, man, you was living that life, you was doing stuff. Hey, man, go sit down and think about it. Now, obviously, 30 years later, 30 something years later, I got a new attitude. I
Right,
don't, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't, and that's not to say that there's nothing wrong with that, but that was just part of my change. I knew that I had to change my thinking in order to change my ways. So it started with that. So I've been on a mission, as far as transitioning. You know what I mean? And everything in existence is in a constant state of transition. Either it's
mm,
getting weaker, deteriorating, or it's getting stronger.
right.
So I mean, I choose to utilize that time to get better.
And what was your actual like turning point? Because I would imagine getting convicted for something you didn't do, as well as coming from that like the lifestyle. Like initially, you had a chip on your shoulder in the beginning, and you know what I'm saying. You were still like pretty much. I'm assuming getting darker in your state in the beginning. When was your
Yeah,
turning point? Like, what was going on that made you like really start like, nah, man, and start looking at it the way you look at it now?
I think that I was like, I think what it was I was just going along for the ride. I'm thinking, hey man, I didn't do this. The truth gonna come out eventually. I'll get up out of here. But man, after that 10th year, I'm like, damn, okay, I've been in here a decade. You know what I mean? Then 15 years. I'm like, whoa. It was, although it was serious from the beginning, one day is too much. But I mean, I think once I was like about 15 years into my sins, I started to feel like, man, okay, hold up, man. And going to the hole, getting in riots, getting caught with weapons, all the type of stuff that come along with that lifestyle. And because you understand, I hadn't changed my lifestyle. I
Right,
just I just transitioned from the streets to the pen, but I'm still under the same ideologies as far
right,
as my thinking, my thoughts, my movements. So I think around my that 15 mark, I started feeling like, hey man, I had talked to this older dude and he was, real inspirational dude, man. He was like, and he had been down at that time. I had been down 15, he had been down like 30. And I was just thinking to myself, like, damn, he been down 30 years, man. I'm like, man, I hope I don't be, I hope I'm not in here no 30. In my mind, I'm telling myself this. I hope I don't be that OG that's it. Because when I first came to jail, they was calling me youngster. Hey,
right.
youngster, I'm youngster. Toward the end of my sentence, I was OG. But now I'm
Damn, that's deep.
yeah,
Shit.
you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, after doing so much time and seeing my family go through it, seeing my, can't see my wife, can't see my family in the hole, in the shoe, in the, hey man, it just got old, bro. And I just wanted to change mentally. And I think around that 15-year mark, I start transitioning mentally into like, hey man, I got to do better. You
Right,
know what I mean? And I think, yeah, but initially, yeah, I was sour puss. Because I'm like, man, they got me in there for some shit I didn't do. Fuck that
right,
shit. I'm rebelling. I'm into everything, but I understood that that was getting me nowhere fast. So a transition was inevitable.
right. And with Banks, both both of y'all maintain y'all innocence. And when he got snatched away, like his whole football career, like his future was completely compromised. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And so, do you tie into that in some way? Like, what was the biggest thing you lost by getting convicted of something you didn't do while you was down?
Well, at the time, I had a studio and a record shop.
Mm,
I was trying to get into that music business. Suge and them had just came. Death Row had been popping real, this is in 95, 96. So, you know, this was even before Pac had got out, but once Pac got out, I think Death Row really, was out there like that. But I was doing it, I was getting people demos. I was trying to form a label. I had
Mm.
hooked up with one of my pilots hooked me up with Snoop Dogg. And I had talked to Snoop, I'm thinking he was lying. We was rolling. He was like, man, I'm gonna call Snoop, see if we can get him involved. I'm like, man, stop it, man. You hear the chatter all the time about, oh, I fuck with this dude, I fuck with this dude. But he actually called him. We was in the car. And Snoop wife answered the phone. He was like, hey, boo, where's Snoop at? She's like, he's asleep. We like, wake him up. And I'm like, oh, wake him up. You got it like that in my mind. I'm like, you must really be his partner.
Right.
And the boy got on the phone. You know what I mean? He was like, man, look, I got a homie right here, whoop. So he made the introduction. And, Snoop was just letting me know, like, hey, man, I let him know what I was trying to do. He was like, man, anything I can do to help motherfucker get off the streets, bro, I'm with it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
He said, I ain't gonna even charge you. All I ask is that you got security and you have some weed when I come. But I get on a couple of your artists' tracks. And so I'm like, so yeah, I was on that mission. And I felt like that just totally knocked me off course. You know,
Mm.
I so them ambitions I had about trying to do that, that's out the window. Now that I'm out, I'm trying to do something else, but that's another story.
Right, right, right. And like what goes through your head doing all that time? You know what I'm saying? Like what was your most did you ever have like a near breaking moment, like mentally? Where all just like the weight just became almost unbearable.
No, I
What
can't
was
say that I did, right? I think for the most part, mentally, I stood tall. You know what I mean? But I mean, I did have my moments where I would just be like, man, this is some bullshit. Like, I think that every day I was like that. I ain't gonna even every day I woke up and you hear, motherfuckers is too loud, or this dude over here farting. You know what I mean? Or you like, man, I ain't supposed to be in this, man. Like, this some bullshit. So it was every day, constantly. It wasn't a day that I didn't wake up where I was like, man, this some bullshit. I shouldn't be here. But I think as far as breaking down mentally or whatever, nah, I think I pretty much I owned it. You know what I mean? I was
right,
like, hey man, it is what it is. I got to do this time. I got to do it. That old mantra, stand tall through it all.
right. And you had
You know,
life, right?
I had life without.
Oh, life without. And how did you actually earn your freedom?
Well, the law changed in 2019. The felony murder rule,
Okay.
where if you didn't, if you went to go, let's say me and you went to go do a robbery. Now we understand how California law used to be. If me and you went to go do a robbery and you killed somebody, we was both getting a murder
Right.
off the top. That law changed in 2019, and they made it retroactive to where anybody who had been convicted for being an accomplice, just like me and my co-defendant situation, they said he was the shooter. That's the only reason why he's still in there. They said
Mm.
I wasn't a shooter. I was just the accomplice. I was there with him.
Okay.
So when that law changed in 2019, I'm like, damn, okay. So now they saying when the law changed, they said it's passed, but no LWOPs. If you got an LWOP, it ain't for LWOPs, it's only for lifers. So we like, man, what's the difference? What's the difference between if me and him do the same crime? So we had to fight it all the way to the Supreme Court. You know
Mm.
what I mean? The Supreme Court had the rule on it. The Supreme Court ruled that, it pretty much it ain't no difference. If they got the same type of if he didn't do it, if he was just an accomplice, the rules apply to him too.
Mm.
So that which is why what took me so long because I filed this in 2019. So it took me until 2024 to actually get released.
Mm.
And 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 like I said, if it wasn't for this attorney, her name was Elizabeth Richardson Royer. And it's a cool thing because she got Richardson in her name too, like me, right?
Right.
So, throughout the years, I had met this dude, and he was on the other side of the fence. But at the time, I wasn't in my ignorance. You know what I mean? I wasn't, I was, I didn't care where you was from. You know what I mean? But He was telling me, man, I got this cool lawyer. She's straight, man. She going above and beyond and whooping up. I'm like, yeah, and he was just he kept talking on her, talking on. I'm like, man, give me her information. So he gave me her information, and this probably was like in man, I want to say like 20, probably like 2016 or 15, something like that. And I had got in touch with her, letting her know, like, look, one of my partners was telling me, explain to me how you looking out for him. You a good attorney. Wish I had an attorney like you, blah, blah, blah. So she was just like, man, I'm more of a appeal attorney, but send me some stuff on your case. Let me see what you're talking about. You talking about you innocent. So I sent her my opening brief, reply brief, little stuff, some habeas corpuses I filed. So she wanted to get back to me. She was like, wow, this is crazy. How did you get convicted? I said, man, the system. She was like, they actually didn't have nothing on you. I don't even understand how you sitting in there, especially with a life without sentence. The judicial system, again, you know what I mean? So she was like, man, I can't do nothing for you because I'm an appeal attorney, but um, she would send me stuff over the years. She stayed in touch. Look, this new law just came out. Check this out. Check this case out. This may help you. So I stayed in touch with her all the way up into 2019. Now, 2019, when I filed this lawsuit, when I filed this habeas corpus to get out, they denied it, saying that you were LWOP. It don't apply to LWOPs. They sent me to the appeal court. So I'm like, damn, okay, I got to get an appeal attorney. So me and my wife was talking, and she was like, what about Elizabeth? You know, the appeal attorney. I said, oh, you know what? Yeah, let me get in touch with her. So I hit her up. I said, hey, look, I'm in appeal court now. Can you help me? So long story short, she wound up getting on the case, and we won that appeal through Supreme Court, through the California Supreme Court, and she fought it all the way to the courts with me. And she even jumped on my case, bro, when she came to court for me, and in the Superior Court, she did it. She went above and beyond.
Right.
So hey, if it wasn't for her, and then she even went to bat with the DAs and them, because they wanted to give me 25 to life. They didn't even want to let me out. They was like, nah, we ain't gonna just let him out. We let the board let him out. We give him 25 to life. She was like, nah, man, this dude is. And she was like, I'm just letting you know I'm your attorney. I'm like, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Because at that time I couldn't even go to the board. The LWOP is just another death sentence. You ain't
Right.
going to the board. You ain't doing nothing. So I'm like, at least with 25 to life, I can go to the board. I got action to getting out if I do the right thing. She was like, man, let me just keep working on it. She did her magic, man. And then one day she hit me up. She was like, hey, look, I got him to the time served, but you got to take involuntary manslaughter. I was like, what other choice I got? I got to take that. You know what I mean? And that's how it happened. That's how I regained my freedom. But if it wasn't for that attorney, Elizabeth Richardson Royer, I'll still be up in there, bro.
So you made it out. Boom. Banks got out, but he continued to fight to clear his name. Like, are you doing the same?
And that's why we having this interview. This is a part of that mission. Getting my story out there. You never know who may see it. You never know what can evolve from. But I know that if my story stay dormant, then nobody will know about it. So I
Right.
gotta put it out there. And we even been still working with the Innocent Project. My co-defendant. I know you had a talk with him.
Right.
They gonna see that interview. So we got some people on the team, bro. We constantly pushing, making a push to get it out there and try to get some resolution.
Okay. And what would you say, like, is the underlying lesson in the movie that you carry with you in the real world that you want people like this applies to like real life? What do you feel like the overall lesson of the movie?
Um, I think persistence.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The dude stayed consistent about trying to get his name cleared. And I mean, even when the Innocent Project was like, nah, man, he constantly kept going up there, like, man, you know what I mean?
Right.
Work with me, man. Help me out. Look, I found this out. So he was persistent. And I think that anybody who looking to overcome something or to try to do something got to stay persistent. I mean, because you're gonna get a lot of no's, you're gonna get a lot of people, but you understand if you understand your plight and your journey, you got to keep pushing, especially if you believe in it. And I believe in truth will come out.
Right.
It's gonna come out, bro, one way or another. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm in the process of trying to even do a documentary.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get it out there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Persistence. Eventually you will crack whatever that is, that wall
Yeah,
that's in the way.
that's just like one drop of water at a time that's hitting the concrete. Over the years, it's gonna put a dent in that concrete,
Right.
and that's persistence.
Right. What you doing right now? Like, what are your, since you've been out, how hard has it been to transition back into society?
Well, mentally, I think it's been harder than anything. I got out and got a job pretty quick. I got a, I'm working. I'm work every day, man. I love it, man. I love it. I couldn't wait to get out and work. I never really worked in my life. When I was a kid, I took a couple of summer jobs, but I've been a hustler all my life. Now I'm just hustling a new thing. Now, I transition that energy, that hustling energy, toward my job.
Right.
So when I'm at work, you know what I mean? They always tell me, Mike, what you doing, man? Because I'm moving, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, man, I'm hustling. I'm hustling for what y'all
Right.
doing. I see
For
y'all
sure.
sitting over there. It ain't break time.
Right.
Well, y'all should be hustling too. So, hey, man, that's what I do, bro. I'm working. I love it, and spending time with family. Because man, I gave the streets all my time. I've been out like a year and a half, and it's still kind of a struggle. I'm getting used to it, the driving, I done got used to it. So I did more in my lifetime. I lived more of my life in a cell than I did on the streets.
Right.
I was 24 when I went to jail. I was 54 when I got out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not. I like to tell a lot of people, like I heard my boy Nipsey Hussle say one day, like, man, I'm not from this world y'all from.
Right.
You know what I mean? People, when I see this stuff, when I see confrontation, I try to immediately like, hey man, evade.
Right.
I'm out. I don't want no problems, man. I'm out, man.
Right.
Even at work, I see, the other day had a little confrontation with somebody about something. And I just, hey man, I pushed. I'm gone, bro. I don't want it. So yeah,
Right.
I think I'm still making that transition. It's been mentally more harder than anything because, like I said, I got out, got lucky. My first job when I got out was telemarketing. I didn't like that at all, man. But I had to do something though. I wanted to just work, stay busy. Now I
Right.
got a good job at a warehouse. Hey man, I'm thriving.
Man, that's great. And do you have any like aspirations for the near future, or it's like just continue to stay free and enjoy the family?
Oh man, I got a bunch of aspirations. I'm a hustling dude, man. So like I said, I wanna start putting some music out with dudes behind the wall.
Mm.
You know what I
Oh,
mean? Strictly behind the wall.
okay.
I'm doing low key a little talent search right now.
Mm.
One of my partners is in the music business. We trying to put some stuff together. We got a nonprofit organization called Family Over Everything. Everything else, my bad. Family over everything else. I'm trying to get to these youth, let them know, like, hey man, all that glitter ain't gold, man. Pull your pants up. Don't worry about what these dudes is doing, man. All the stuff people told me. I understood they couldn't tell me nothing though. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. Moms and them like, boy, you don't know. I've been your age before. You ain't never been my age. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I get it. I'm
Sure.
doing it, but I still want to try to reach the youth, man. That's my passion. I feel like I'm a little more stable with my job and my position. Now that allowed me to start trying to open up more doors, more of my passion. I can, venture off into that lane a little bit more.
Mm. How do you actually forgive the people who put you in that position?
Man, I think that you got to, and I know it's cliche-ish, man, but I think you got to kind of like heal, to let that wound kind of, and that ain't gonna never, because too much has been lost too much. I done lost, family members while I was behind that wall. I should have been here for. I ain't get to go to funerals. I ain't get to see them for their last time. I didn't, road dogs then passed. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot. I feel like I should have been here for all of that. I shouldn't have missed that, bro. I didn't do nothing to end up in there. I feel like I did do something. I don't want to say I went to, okay, attempted robbery. That first attempt we went there, bro. Hey, man, I understand I should have did some time for that, but I should have never got a life without the possibility of parole sentence.
Right.
I didn't kill nobody. You got dudes that was in there that I know people that had double murders, shot dudes in their head,
Right.
and they did like 25 years, 30 years and got out.
Right.
Here I was sitting up in there with life without, and I didn't kill nobody. They
Right.
just said I was with somebody that killed somebody.
Yeah, that's heavy. And man, but any like final words to anybody, whether it's to the people that we left behind those walls to give them hope, or to the people who put you in that position, or to people who just like listening to your story and that's impacted by your story. Do you got any final words?
Hey man, I would just say that especially them dudes behind the wall, because I'm in constant contact with a lot of them, daily. Hey man, keep fighting. You know what I mean? We gotta, like I said earlier, you asked me what I took away from Banks the most. What persistence. Stay consistent, man, and trying to get up out of there. People out here don't understand how much just, hey man, send a dude a card every now and then. That little stuff, that little stuff helps, man. Just, oh man, they thought about me. It could just say, hey man, how you doing? You ain't got to write a whole letter. You can send a little card, how you doing? I'm thinking about you. People in there mentally be going through some stuff, man, because it's a lot of mental health issues in there. And the people that got to deal with that stuff, oh man, hey man, I would just tell everybody, man, that stay consistent, man, as far as the people behind the wall, bro. To get up out of there, homie. And that's what I did. I was in that law library. Every time a law came out, I studied it. I had my wife send it to me, get copies, send it to me. I was just, man, I was consistent and persistent.
Right. There it is there, man. Y'all heard it, man. The powerful and heavy, story. That was a lot to unpack. I'm sure for a lot of people, it's a lot to digest. A lot of people can't even imagine themselves going through that. You know what I'm saying? Whether they did the crime or not. You know what I'm saying? You survived something that very few could. You're a rare breed. Definitely last of a dying seed for sure. And I appreciate you for coming on here. Y'all heard his story, Michael Richardson, as it relates to the movie Brian Banks. Till next time, send my love.
Every seed that we planted bore some rotten fruit. The baby boomers sold crack just to cop a coupe. They taught us slide and shoot, judge hangers with the noose.